What's up, everyone, and welcome to ClearTalk. In this video, we are going to be, this is going to be kind of our somewhat fun video of the week, I guess you could say, although it's really kind of ridiculous. But we are going to talk about the ballroom plans again, the latest that we know, along with the captions that you may have heard about that Trump has now placed up underneath all the president's pictures on his presidential walk of fame. It's really getting ridiculous. This is just pathetic in my opinion. We're going to talk about them, though. Let's get updated. All right. Thank you very much for joining me here. If you are new to ClearTalk, welcome. If you would like to check out more videos from the channel, please do so. Consider subscribing, like, share, comment, all the good stuff to get more videos in front of more people. And if you want to check out more videos from my other channels, JMDPLAY, puzzling, consider subscribing to those. If you like what you see, that would be great. And Patreon there, $3 a month. You can help support any of the channels you would like to grow those channels, to grow Patreon, to grow JMD Nation, and contribute however you would like. Any contribution and support you give is very much appreciated, and I thank you very much because it helps me to do this and keep doing this, and that's something that I would love to do. And if you're returning, you are freaking you're amazing. Thank you. Welcome back. Keep coming back because we love you here. All right. As we last left off, we remember, we talked about the ballroom plans, this massive ass ballroom. The last time it was about that I talked about it was when the East Wing was starting to get, knocked down. The demolition had started, and there wasn't any. They hadn't even brought any plans to the. I think it's the Natural Park or Federal Park Committee. I think something. There's a couple of committees that often, I can't remember what they are now. They often are the ones that kind of handle or to some degree, basically, agree. Or suggest whether or not something is okay to do to a federal building, kind of given the go ahead. You give them the plans. The federal buildings, particularly the White House, I think the Capitol, and maybe one or two others, technically don't have to be brought, but historically, whenever a president did want to make some sort of significant structural change to the White House, whether it was exterior or interior, they would present the plans to this committee, to this group of people, individuals, or whatever, so that they could go over the plans, make sure that it's cost effective, make sure it makes sense, and it keeps the integrity of the White House or of the federal building, at whichever one it is. I'll get the right word. But they were not doing this, and they hadn't done this at that time. They just started immediately doing the construction. They're like, oh yeah, well, we're going to give you the plans. But it was, as we said then, it was kind of going ahead and breaking so that they kind of couldn't say no. It's well, it's already fucked up, so we got to do something to it. So, you can't say no. You got to say yes to something. So that's the kind of way it felt. And at the time, when Trump first brought this out, it was around 200 million, I think, 250 million. At that, by that moment, the last we spoke, they were teasing around 3. He kept just raising the bar on the number. Well, now we have new information. We have new figures. We have another kind of layout, a more, I guess, newer layout with some more details a little bit. And of course, as we know in that Vanity Fair from Susie Wiles, there's potentially more plans in the works. and she wasn't going to give it up. And I don't know, maybe she was talking about these plaques that he just put up that we're going to talk about too. But I don't know. I feel like there's so much more that this man is going to do to this to the White House that we the amount of stuff that's going to have to be reversed when this man is finally out of office. It's going to be ridiculous. So first off, let's talk about the Ballroom. All right, this is from the Daily Beast. Secret plans for Monster Trump White House Ballroom reveal. Donald Trump's ever-expanding ballroom will form part of a new two-story building that will dominate the White House and feature monumental stairs, guest suites, and a multi-level passageway connecting it to the president's main residence. As Trump let slip on Tuesday at his Mar-a-Lago-style project, which now cost $400 million. $400 million. He talked about it here at the Hanukkah reception of all places. Double the original price tag. Government documents submitted in court this week reveal how much the plan has grown since it was announced. Was announced. So now we are talking about $400 million. Now, originally, they had this whole thing. They had a bunch of billionaires, CEOs of all these different companies and corporations come in. They were saying, yes, we'll help fund this. It was, basically you're selling the White House to all these corporate, mongrels and everything that that already just make fortunes and profits and stuff off of us. They were going, so you have something attached to the White House that they are helping to fund. And I mean, now the number is 400. They originally came in with a number around 200 to 250. So when they were promising this, I mean, did they know that there was a chance of it continuously going up? I mean, or is the difference now from then, is that still going to be covered by these millionaires or whatever? Or are we talking about some other funding that's going to have to be done? Granted, Trump did say that he was going to try to, come in under that budget. He's like, I'm always try to come in under budget, because I love to not pay people. Because I mean, we know his history in paying for projects. He'll pay for half of it, and then when it comes down to the other half or finishing, after the project's done, he just skirts and doesn't pay these people, pay contractors and stuff, which have sued him in the past. And I mean, it's just what he's known for. That's what he's known for: skirting and screwing people out of contracts over and over and over again throughout his life and all his projects. So would he attempt to do the same here? I mean, maybe. We already know that the original contractor who was going to build, the building contractor for the building, left. He completely exited out of the plans, said that he was not, basically saying that it was too much and he wasn't going to fall into that, wasn't going to do it, didn't agree to it. So now they've had to go find somebody else that was going to build it. So there's been a whole lot of controversy around this, all outside of even the legal stuff, which they have recently just got out of court for. And as of to this point, they kind of sort of won that case. Not really, because it didn't finished, but they say they won it. So, according to a review by the National Park Service, which manages the White House grounds, construction of the ballroom, which would introduce both adverse and beneficial effects to the area. It would dominate the eastern portion of the site, creating a visible imbalance with the more modestly scaled West Wing and Executive Mansion. Some streets across the White House would also be closed until the ballroom was completed in 2028 to make way for a temporary construction zone near the new demolition East Wing. This is when the East Wing was starting to get torn up previously. There are pictures for like more current situations here in a minute. A historic garden and historic gardens have been removed, along with trees and sand shrubs around the famous grounds, including Jackie Kennedy's garden and a treasured magnolia tree planted in 1942 by Franklin D. Roosevelt. But the documents also show that the project involves not just a 90,000 square foot ballroom, but also a new multi level colonnade, a larger visitor entrance with monumental stairs to the ballroom, and a new passageway connecting the ballroom to the executive residence where the president lives. This is the current colonnade. The new building will be approximately 90 square feet, which we've already know, and will be connected to the executive mansion through the East Colonnade. The East Colonnade will be renovated to include a second story that will include a secure second story, because that already technically has a second story, kinda. But it's going to have to be bigger by his plans. That will provide direct access from the East Room to the State Ballroom while maintaining existing ground floor access to and from the main executive mansion. The document says the second floor of the new building will feature a State Ballroom, while the first floor will accommodate guest suites, executive offices, restrooms, and a visitor entrance with expanded interpretive areas. This right now is a model, the proposed model. All right. This is the White House currently, the West Wing, where's the Oval Office. Okay. See there. This is the Treasury building. This massive monstrosity here is this 90,000 square foot ballroom. The gigantic, grand, monumental stairs here. Another set of monumental stairs here going up to the second level of the passageway from the outside garden area. This is going to be the first. The first level here is supposed to be what I'm assuming is the guest suites, executive offices, visitor entrance, and restrooms. So it's going to be like a small lower level but then on top of that lower level is going to be a massive ass ballroom, as you see. Now remember that underneath here is also like an underground bunker like area where they have like secured offices and stuff. That's like more right up in here, or maybe I think it actually goes up in here because the original East Wing was back here, and those underground bunker areas come out here, up in this area. So this will basically cover that entire area. But I mean, just how massive this thing is. It's huge, absolutely huge, dwarfing. I mean, it's damn near bigger than all of this put together right here. It's outrageous. There's no reason whatsoever. Like, even to the argument that he constantly states, everybody's been asking for a ballroom for hundreds of years. Like, even so, it didn't have to be this big. Like, you could have kept it reasonable, right? Like, because right now there's a room that they often use on the East Wing here of the main, the East Room over here, that's used for it's a relatively small room. It only holds about 100 people or so. I mean, maybe at max 200. But they've done events in that room. But whenever they needed something bigger, then they would put a tent out. I'm not sure if it was on the front or the back, but they would put a tent out. I think it was on the back. They would put a tent out that would house upwards of around like 300 or so. This is supposed to house 1,000, which is crazy to me. Like, I could understand building, maybe you could have expanded the current East Wing to have a room on it or something that would have housed, say, somewhere between 300 and 500 people, maybe, if you just really wanted. I mean, but this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. But anyways, and the first room will be the visitor's entrance to the building with the monumental stairs to the ballroom and will house storage, mechanical equipment, and mission space. Ground floor restrooms will support events on the South Lawn. The review was submitted in court as part of a legal challenge by the National Trust Preservation Committee, which accused the president of overstepping his authority to fast-track the controversial project. The action was the first major lawsuit attempting to halt further construction until a legally mandated review process could take place that could give Americans a say in the development of the so-called People's House. So no president is legally allowed to tear down portions of the White House without any review whatsoever. Not President Trump, not President Biden, not anyone else, says the group's complaint, which was filed in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. This right now is what it looks like at the moment, which, it's interesting that we were able to even get this. So you can see now the East Wing has been completely torn down. It's gone. Because Trump was like, after the first pictures got out of that like entrance section being torn down originally, Trump like put a mandate out for like no pictures to be taken, like to prevent, if at all possible, any pictures being taken from there on out. Because he did not want, he saw the backlash and he did not want people seeing what was going on. I mean, yeah, locally people would be able to see and probably be able to snap some far off distance pictures, but I mean, it's impossible for him to prevent pictures from happening, but like, still. However, federal judge Richard Leon, a Bush appointee, signaled on Tuesday he was likely to let construction continue, but would give the White House 2 weeks to submit its yet-to-be-finalized plans to relevant review panels. This come after Justice Department lawyers argued that the East Wing had already been torn down, so there was no need for the court to pause the project. So, I mean, it's already gone. It's gone. We got to build something there, so just let us do it. Let us build this monstrosity. And well, yes, the building's gone. No doubt. Building's fucking gone. It's gone. They tore it all down without a review process. But at least with the review process, there could be an argument for whatever is built in its place to not be this, to be something that would be more fitting, maybe half the size. I mean, it's just. They also argue that construction should continue due to national security concerns and urge that the White House was exempt from reviews that apply to federal agencies' construction projects. Trump revealed on Tuesday that the cost of this ballroom has again increased and would now cost $400 million. This is up from the latest estimate of $300 and double of the White House said in July when it announced the project. We're donating $400 million dollars to the ballroom, and we got sued not to build it. Trump told guests at the Hanukkah party in the White House. The new ballroom will be privately funded by Trump and various billionaire donors, including Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, and Palantir, many of whom currently benefit from lucrative government contracts or government deregulation. Key points. Scratch your back, you scratch mine, bruh. More pictures. Construction crews continue to remove the east wing of the house and prepare for the new ballroom construction. The Daily Beast has reached out to the White House to ask why the cost has increased and whether the additional $100 million was already been raised for donors, but the officials have not yet responded. The White House has also not responded to questions about whether it will submit its final plans to the planning authorities or as requested by the court. However, earlier this month, spokesman David Ingalls told the Daily Beast that President Trump has full legal authority to modernize, renovate, and beautify the White House, just like all his predecessors did. I mean, yes, you do have the legal authority, but out of respect, you still like make sure it's cool, Like, y'all good if I do this, Because, it's not your fucking house. You're not the owner. The documents filed in court also show that the White House had three specifications for the new ballroom. One, immediate agency to the executive mansion. Adjacency. Immediate adjacency to the executive mansion. A direct ceremonial procession from the east room into the venue, and 3, secure second-story access from the executive residence. So they wanted to be able to go from the executive, like a full-on second story that's secure, so people can, bulletproof. Because he's talking about this ballroom being completely bulletproof. And I'm sure that that's what he means also by the second floor from the from the executive residence to the ballroom, for that second floor to also be bulletproof. And while there would be adverse impacts, it would also provide a much-needed space for the White House events that could accommodate up to 1,000 guests, far more than the East Room, which now only holds 300. Okay, so that holds more than I thought. 300. The exterior design of the new East Wing building will be compatible with the executive mansion through classical elements such as columns and pediments. Materials will include a white painted exterior, historically compatible windows and doors, and an architecturally compatible roof. Interior finishes will include stone slab flooring, decorative plaster moldings, and high-quality finishes for elevator cabs. So, that's what we're looking at. A massive ass ballroom again. Now $400 million, according to Trump's newest thing, and this is him speaking about that. I forgot about the ad. Oh, my God.
We just won the case. We got sued. We're donating a $400 million ballroom, and we got sued not to build it. For 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom, and we're giving them, myself and donors are giving them, free of charge, for nothing. We're donating a building that's approximately 400 million. I think I'll do it for less, but it's 400. I should do it for less. I will do it for less. But just in case I say 400, otherwise if I go $3 over, the press will say it costs more. I build under budget and ahead of schedule, right, Jason? Always. I know how to build under budget. I build good, but we won the case. They asked for a restraining order to stop us from building a magnificent ballroom. I said, who would ask for a restraining? We're giving them, Sid, a $400 million. It'll be the most beautiful ballroom, and it'll handle inaugurations. It's got 5-inch thick glass windows.
That's something that is interesting that he brings up, that he plans on even having inaugurations in it, as if that will be the new location for inaugurations, meaning that the intent there is that only 1,000 people at max would attend inaugurations. Historically, it's been for like the public, anybody that could get there, thousands upon thousands could come across and watch the inauguration of the president that they voted for. But his intent here, thinking, is that, it could even do inaugurations, which means that you would have to restrict people. Which he talks all the time about having to restrict people at these events and all these events from Every single event he does, he says something about having to restrict people. For every one person here, we had to restrict 10 of them, like, or we had to say no to 10 of them or whatever. Like, he's always talking about that. So I guess his plan for the inaugurations is that, for every one of you here, we had to say no to 10 others. So special that you were able to come here to this massive ass ballroom for my inauguration, because I'm pretty damn sure he wants to be inaugurated again. Yeah.
Impenetrable by anything but a howitzer. It's impenetrable. Now, I will say, if I'm up making a speech someday, Mark, and I hear ding, 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 I'm out of there. But we have...
See there? Also, if I'm up there making a speech one day and ding, 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 two things. One, this thing is not supposed to be completed until the end of his presidency. Matter of fact, they'll be lucky if it's done by the time his presidency is over. And for him to be doing a speech there means that he would be invited there to do a speech, unless he was still president. So he's either assuming that he's going to be president again, or somebody would become president that would allow him to speak there, which would mean it would have to be like, a J.D. Vance or something, somebody that would be favorable to him to come speak. And then the other thing is boom, boom, boom. So he's automatically expecting, I guess, because somebody's already attempted his life, that he would have it attempt again, and it would be in the ballroom. That's the reason why he wants it bulletproof. Because he thinks he's going to be there a lot. It's the reason why he wants it built, because he thinks he's going to be there a lot. He's going to have all kinds of balls there. Meaning that he either thinks he's going to be there a lot because he's president again, or he's going to be there a lot because whoever is president there will be favored to him enough to let him have events there all the time. And he'll speak there. His life will be safe because of the safe windows. It's very telling. It's very telling.
It's going to be one of the greatest. I think it'll be the greatest ballroom anywhere in the world. But I said, who else but in our country would sue to stop a $400 million beautiful ballroom that people have been after for the White House? The White House has wanted a ballroom for 150 years. They used to use a tent, and they have a tent. And the tent would go in a very low area because it's the only area that can handle a big tent. And if it rained, the rain would go over the woman's beautiful shoes with the high heels, about 6-7 inches worth of water. They'd be...
I'm not even making that joke.
Sitting in the water, and people said, would rather have that than a brand new. This ballroom is going to be amazing. Also designed to handle the inauguration so that you have total safety from not only the weather. January 20th is always a disaster from the coldness standpoint. But, we had it in the Capitol, and there was nothing more beautiful. But from a safety standpoint, we can do better. So we're going to have something that's really...
He's going to think. He thinks that whoever has an inauguration there is going to need safety. It's going to need safety. That, in my opinion, is what I take from that. So there you go. That's the most up to date, $400 million approximately. He's going to try to do it for less. Executive buildings and everything on the bottom floor, ballroom second floor, huge ass colonnade now that will be going from the executive suite to the ballroom floor. Secure, all the way around, protected. Able to hold inaugurations. Yeah, that's they're just expanded. It's got massive ass, as we see again, the massive ass staircases. I think that's the biggest stuff that's been really added on, these staircases in the colony. Would you stop? They've just continuously expanded on this idea. All right. So now, what are we talking about when it comes to the captions, though? Let's get on to the captions. As you remember, the president made this presidential walk of fame, and as we talked about it before, he had everybody's picture put up except for like the big one that was controversial was the fact that Biden's was not his headshot. It was a picture of the supposed auto pen. And while that was petty enough as it was and like just childish, now they have added not only these like gold, like figure decorative wall things above every one of the president's heads and a massive like saying of that's in gold, the president's Hall of Fame thing, whatever. Each, of course, each one of the frames was in gold plated. It's gold plated. It's not gold, but you know what I mean. Now we have plaques up underneath each one of the presidents. And while it looks as though the majority of them, like all your early ones up to maybe around Nixon or so, maybe JFK, they all of them look like the standard, like they say something that's standard, something that is more official, maybe even would have previously been placed for them, in some sort of manner somewhere maybe, but all of your recent ones, even back as I think even as far pretty much as Reagan, because there was some stuff put in like for Reagan as well. There was a couple of little. It seems like, particularly like from George H. Bush, Reagan, and who was before Reagan? Anyway, I can't remember. That there would be like a one-liner thing. It was Carter, right? One-liner thing. That may seem like it was added in that Trump wanted specifically in or something. But then from Clinton on, Bill Clinton, George H. Bush, or George W. Bush, sorry, Obama, him, Biden, him. It's like the plaques are full on like true social posts. Full on Trump written or in a Trumpian style way. That is just mind-blowing that this is plaques to commemorate past presidents, and he is so petty and bothered by our last modern presidents that he has to. I'm just going to show you. I'm just going to show you. It takes words away, man. President Donald Trump has added new plaques to his presidential wall of fame beneath portraits of America's 45 presidents, most notably targeting former Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and George W. Bush. The display, installed along the west colonnade of the White House, was unveiled Wednesday during a media preview ahead of dinner Trump hosted near the exhibit. The installation sits on the direct path of the White House residence to the Oval Office, allowing Trump to showcase the gallery to guests and dignitaries. The display is now inscribed with what Trump has labeled descriptions of past presidents, good, bad, and somewhere in the middle. Bruh. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the inscriptions are eloquently written descriptions. Eloquently written, bruh. Okay, keep that in mind. Eloquently written descriptions of each president, and that many were written directly by the president himself. Oh, I bet they were. I bet they were. The newly unveiled plaques deliver sharp attacks on Democratic leaders, including Biden, Barack Obama, Jimmy Carter, while praising Republicans like Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon. Biden's pair of plaques displayed beneath a portrait featuring a auto pen label him, quote, by far the worst president in American history, and claim he took office as a result of the most corrupt election ever seen in the United States. This is on official Plaques, and that's just the beginning. The text blames Biden for inflation, border security failures, the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan, and foreign conflicts. Nicknamed both sleepy and crooked, Joe Biden was dominated by his radical left handlers, one reads, ending with President Trump would get reelected in a landslide and save America. Like I said, a Truth Social post. Obama's plaque accuses him of weakening the U.S. economy and foreign policy, criticizing the Affordable Care Act, the Iran nuclear deal, and the Paris Climate Accord. One plaque reads, he crippled small businesses with crushing regulation and environmental red tape, and claims he spied on the 2016 presidential campaign of Donald J. Trump and promoted the Russia hoax. I shit you not. His successor, Hillary Clinton, the plaque says, would then lose to presidency to Donald J. Trump. It does. George W. Bush plaque, while less personal, still delivers a rebuke of his war record. He started wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, both of which should not have happened. Yep. It also, I do agree, but it also notes the 2008 financial crisis during his final year in office. The Reagan plaque, by contrast, praises him as a conservative icon who won the Cold War, rebuilt the military, and restored national confidence, spirit, and will. It claims Reagan was a fan of Donald J. Trump long before President Trump's historic run for the White House. And adds, likewise, President Trump was a fan of his. A notable inclusion was Jimmy Carter's, who died in December 2024. The plaque focuses on economic troubles during his presidency, referring, quote, high inflation, high unemployment, and a rising misery index. It also highlights the Iran hostage crisis and Soviet invasion of Afghanistan during his term. However, the text ends on a positive note, my bad. Many feel that President Carter was more successful after his presidency than during it. He did wonderful things for humanity. So, there you go. Trump's own plaques on the Hall of Fame highlight his outsider status and policy record. They note that in 2016, he became the first person elected president without prior policy or military experience, defeating 16 Republican rivals and Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton by flipping key battleground states. The text credits him with tax cuts, deregulation, military expansion, ending NAFTA, defeating ISIS, and launching Operation Warp Speed during the COVID-19 pandemic. It also lists the Abraham Accords and U.S. withdrawals from the Iran deal and Paris Climate Accords among his accomplishments. A plaque dedicated to Trump's second term claims he won 2024 election in a historic victory with 312 electoral college votes, becoming the first president in 132 years to serve non-consecutive terms. The plaque declares the start of the golden age of America, citing early efforts to end multiple foreign conflicts, lower inflation, secure the border, and attract investments. It also lists new tariffs, expanding NATO contributions, a missile defense project dubbed the Golden Dome, and the construction of the presidential ballroom at the White House. So, it breaks down a couple of the captions here. Sleepy Joe Biden was by far the worst president in American history, taking office as a result of the most corrupt election ever seen in the United States. Biden oversaw a series of unprecedented disasters that brought our nation to the brink of destruction. His policy caused the highest inflation ever recorded, leading the U.S. dollar to lose more Then 20% of its value in 4 years. His Green New scam surrendered American energy dominance, and by abolishing the southern border, Biden let 21 million people from all over the world pour into the United States, including from prisons, jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums. His Afghanistan disaster was among the most humiliating events in American history and resulted in the murder of 13 brave American service members, with many others gravely wounded. Seeing Biden's devastating weakness, Russia invaded Ukraine, and Hamas terrorists launched the heinous October 7th attack on Israel. Nicknamed both sleepy and crooked, Joe Biden was dominated by his radical left handlers. They and their allies in the fake news media attempted to cover up his severe mental decline and his unprecedented use of the auto pen. Following his humiliating debate, love to President Trump, humiliating debate, I think it means lost to President Trump in the big June 2024 debate, he was forced to withdraw from his campaign for re-election in disgrace. Biden weaponized law enforcement against his political opponents while persecuting many other that can't be right. Many other innocent people. He left office issuing blank pardons to radical Democrat criminals and chugs, as well as thugs, actually, not chugs, thugs. Who wrote this? They misspelled a lot of shit. As well as members of the Biden crime family. But despite it all, President Trump would get reelected in a landslide and save America. That's what he put on a plaque up under Joe Biden to commemorate Joe Biden. Barack Obama. Barack Hussein Obama was the first black president, a community organizer, one-term senator from Illinois, and one of the most divisive political figures in American history. As president, he passed the highly ineffective, quote, Unaffordable Care Act, resulting in his party losing control of both houses of Congress in the election of the largest House Republican majority since 1946. He presided over a stagnant economy, approved the terrible Iran nuclear deal, and signed the one-sided Paris Climate Accords, both of which were later terminated by President Donald J. Trump. Under Obama, the ISIS caliphate, dude, get your shit right, spread across the Middle East. Libya collapsed into chaos, and Russia invaded and took Crimea in Ukraine. He crippled small businesses with crushing regulation and environmental red tape, devastating American coal miners, and weaponizing the IRS and federal bureaucracies against his political opponents. Obama also spied on the 2016 presidential campaign of Donald J. Trump and presided over the creation of the Russia hoax, the worst political scandal in American history. His hand-picked successor, Hillary Rodham Clinton, would then lose the presidency to Donald J. Trump. That's what he put under Barack Obama. Under Donald Trump's first administration, plaque. In 2016, campaigning under the slogan Make America Great Again, Donald J. Trump became the first person in American history to be elected president without previously holding political office or serving as a military officer. After defeating 16 other candidates in the Republican primary, he went on to beat former Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton in an electoral college landslide of 304 to 221, marking a major political realignment that flipped the so-called, quote, blue wall states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin into future election battlegrounds. During his historic first term in office, President Trump signed the largest tax cut in history, oversaw a booming economy, eliminated a record number of federal regulations, rebuilt the U.S. military, withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal and the Paris Climate Accords, ended the NAFTA agreement, destroyed the ISIS caliphate, signed the historic Abraham Accords, and presided over what he described as the greatest economy in world history. His administration also launched Operation Warp Speed, which he has said millions of lives saved millions of lives worldwide in response to the COVID coronavirus pandemic. Yep. That's what he put under his. Here's some more of this. Here's them up close. As you see under his for this presidency, which is only a year in, okay? He's already got on January 20, 2025, Donald J. Trump became the first president in 132 years to be sworn into office for a second non-consecutive term following his historic victory in an electoral college landslide 212 to 226, overcoming unprecedented weaponization of the law enforcement against him as well as 2 assassination attempts. He won all battleground states by millions of votes, was the first Republican in decades to win the popular vote big, and won 86% of the counties in America, 2,700 to 525. All 50 states shifted towards the Republican Party for the first time ever. At his inauguration, President Trump announced the beginning of the, quote, golden age of America, and he delivered. Ending 8 wars in his first 8 months. Securing the border, deporting gang members and migrant criminals, making our cities safe, helping our farmers, defeating inflation, reducing energy costs, and drawing trillions of dollars of new investment. A record into the United States. Lies. President Trump signed the largest tax cut in American history, the largest spending cuts in American history, and the implementation of largest ever regulation cuts. He obliterated Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity with Operation Midnight Hammer, convincing NATO countries to agree to increase contributions from 2% to 5% of GDP, reformed the global trading system, and made America rich with historic tariffs. I don't think anybody's feeling rich from them tariffs, bro. Removing critical race theory and transgender, I think that's ideology, from public schools, and banned men from women's sports. He began the construction of the Golden Dome, missile defense shield. I'm not sure what this word was. Something like maybe changed or something. The Gulf of Mexico as the renamed the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America, and has built right here at the White House the magnificent Trump presidential ballroom after a 225-year wait. So I guess it went from 150 to 225 years in this. But the best is yet to come in big, bold letters. This is again Biden's. As you can see, it was no joking. If you can see the crooked, Joe Biden was dominated by his radical left handlers, fake news media, the auto pen. This humiliating debate lost to President Trump in the big 24. This is exactly what's there. You see here, there's Obama's. Here's George W. Bush, the son of former President George W. Bush. George W. Bush was the governor of Texas when he won the hotly contested 2000 election for president. His administration was largely defined by the events of September 11, 2001, the destruction of the World Trade Center, after which he led the war on terror. President Bush created the Department of Homeland Security, but started wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, both of which should not have happened. He also enacted tax cuts, expanded Medicare, signed the No Child Left Behind education bill, and launched the president's emergency plan for AIDS relief, PEPFAR. Shortly before the end of his administration, a global financial crisis and major recession took place. So he kind of gives him a little bit of a nudge there at the end. So he nudged him a little bit in the middle there with the Afghanistan and Iraq, and then judged him a little bit at the end. You see here in Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton served as Attorney General and Governor of Arkansas before winning the presidency in what was called a major upset over President George H.W. Bush. As President Clinton signed crime and welfare legislation, which was passed with the leadership of Republicans in Congress. He approved NAFTA, which President Donald J. Trump would later terminate as being bad for the United States. Welcomed China into the World Trade Organization and oversaw NATO's military intervention in Bosnia and Kosovo. Despite the scandals that plagued his presidency, the tech boom of the late 1990s resulted in excellent economic growth, which helped him and Republicans in Congress deliver balanced budgets for the first time in decades. Then he adds this at the end, in 2016, President Clinton's wife, Hillary, lost the presidency to President Donald J. Trump. He actually this one, like I said, I guess there was a couple of nudges and a few others, but like they were just like maybe slight one-liners or little small things. Bush's was actually pretty respectful. I don't think, and this sounded like it come from like an official, like something that's previously been put on something of his. It doesn't come off as just now being written or something. But this is, now you see all the plaques up underneath, all this golden wall decorative trim is the President Wall of Fame. Yeah. So, it's just like, while I get it. I get that some of that stuff one could argue is true. Okay. But the little ego jabs, along with the falsehoods of Trump himself on his plaques, it's just a bunch of grievances. It's a bunch of grievances or jealousy, or like just hating to be hating. I don't know. It's just unbecoming of some sort of historical presence, like preservation or honoring of somebody, to put that type of stuff on it. It's like, I get it. Some of that most certainly is true, or at least has some truths to it. Some of it's just straight BS. But like, to put that on the White House, like, this is just so petty and childish. How many times do we have to look at this and be like, what the why is this man baby president? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's unbecoming of a president. It's unbecoming of somebody of some sort of official status representing. I mean, think about it. He's a representation of our country. That's what, like, is that the way you really want this country to be represented? Is that type of shit? Massive ass ballrooms that dwarf a nationally, like, historically treasured building that's supposed to represent our country and our freedoms. You want, you like, you're okay with somebody destroying that? And then just mocking in such a like childish way our previous presidents on like an official like I'm just like again, I get it. Like, in banter amongst the boys or like but we're talking about an official thing here that's supposed to be in honor. And you're just putting up plaques that are just derogatory and demeaning just to be like and like everything that they did was just bad and everything you did is just good. And then all his extras, Reagan, big fan of Donald Trump before Donald Trump even like what? Dude. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. This man's just a child. How many times we gotta say it? This man's a child, and yet you continue to defend him, or people defend him, continue to defend him. If you're watching and you're a defender, like this, that's what I'm talking. Like you keep defending this man child. It's so petty. It's pathetic. And on top of all the other just bullshit, pathetic stuff he's been doing lately. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. I hate even having to do a video on this shit. But it's like when you think it couldn't really get any worse, the motherfucker just like, hold my beer, bitch. And he does something even crazier. And yeah, I know he doesn't drink, but you get the picture. And I'm just like, we are only the first year in. We got 3 more years of this shit. And apparently more plans that we don't even know about that have yet to be revealed. And that may be even scarier than what we already know. But let me know what you think. Until next time, peace, clear talk. I'm out.